from Bamako to Buguni and even Timbuktu. A show of support for the country's military-backed government of transition, which is facing international sanctions and increasingly isolated. The West African body ECOWAS imposed sanctions on Mali last Sunday after coup leader and head of Mali's transition, Assimi Goïta, announced a delay in February's scheduled election.
Can anyone dismantle the puppet organization ECOWAS? It once seemed impossible, but not anymore. After 3 African nations formed AES, the dynamics changed for ECOWAS. However, no one anticipated such a steep decline following the first AES summit. How exactly did ECOWAS falter? Did they surrender, or will they take action after this summit? Let's find out. The early days of July 2024 marked a historic event for the Sahel region. Niamey, the capital of Niger, was chosen to host the first summit of the heads of state of the Alliance of Sahel States AES, a coalition aimed at fostering stability, security, and prosperity in the region. This inaugural summit brought together leaders from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, symbolizing a new era of regional unity and cooperation. But how important is this considering the background of AES? The Alliance of Sahel States AES is a coalition born out of necessity and a shared vision for a stable, secure, and prosperous Sahel region. The Sahel, a semi-arid region stretching across the breadth of Africa from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea, has long been a focal point of geopolitical interest and a hotspot for various security, economic, and social challenges. The countries within this region, including Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, have faced numerous difficulties ranging from terrorism and insurgency to economic instability and climate change. The formation of the AES represents a strategic response to these multifaceted issues, aiming to foster greater regional cooperation and solidarity. Historically, the Sahel region has been marred by a series of conflicts and crises. The rise of extremist groups, exacerbated by porous borders and weak state structures, has led to a significant deterioration in security. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have been particularly affected by the spread of insurgencies, which have caused widespread displacement, human rights abuses, and economic disruption. The AES was established as a framework through which these countries could pool their resources, share intelligence, and coordinate military operations to combat these threats more effectively. In addition to security concerns, the Sahel faces severe economic challenges. The region's economies are largely dependent on agriculture, which is highly vulnerable to climatic fluctuations. Frequent droughts, desertification, and other environmental changes have undermined agricultural productivity, leading to food insecurity and poverty. The AES aims to address these issues by promoting economic integration and development initiatives. By fostering closer economic ties and encouraging investment in infrastructure, the alliance seeks to create more resilient economies capable of withstanding environmental shocks. Social issues also play a significant role in the AES's agenda. The Sahel has some of the lowest human development indicators in the world, with high rates of poverty, illiteracy, and maternal and child mortality. The AES countries recognize that sustainable development requires addressing these social challenges head-on. Education, healthcare, and social protection programs are integral components of the alliance's strategy to improve the quality of life for their populations. By working together, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger hope to leverage their collective strengths to make meaningful progress in these areas. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. The establishment of the AES is also a response to the limitations of existing regional organizations. While the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS and the African Union AU have made efforts to address the Sahel's challenges, their broad mandates and diverse membership sometimes dilute their focus on the specific needs of the Sahel region. The AES, by contrast, is a more targeted and cohesive entity, with a singular focus on the Sahel's unique context. This allows for more efficient decision-making and resource allocation, ensuring that the alliance's initiatives are directly aligned with the priorities of its member states. The political will driving the AES is also a critical factor. The leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have demonstrated a strong commitment to the alliance, recognizing that their countries' futures are inextricably linked. This political alignment has facilitated the formation of a unified front against common challenges, fostering a sense of solidarity and mutual support. The AES serves as a platform for these leaders to engage in regular dialogue, share experiences, and build consensus on key issues. In the context of international relations, the AES represents an assertion of regional autonomy and self-determination. The Sahel countries have often been the recipients of foreign aid and military assistance, which, while beneficial, can also lead to dependency and a lack of agency. The AES seeks to reverse this dynamic by empowering the Sahel states to take the lead in addressing their challenges. By strengthening regional cooperation and building internal capacities, the alliance aims to reduce reliance on external actors and assert greater control over their development trajectories. The formation of the AES also aligns with broader trends in African regionalism. Across the continent, there is a growing recognition of the importance of regional cooperation in addressing shared challenges. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, and the African Union's Agenda 2063 are examples of initiatives aimed at fostering greater integration and collective action. The AES can be seen as part of this wider movement, contributing to the realization of a more integrated and self-reliant Africa. So, keeping this background in mind, one knows how important the event will be. The preparation for the first summit of the AES in Niamey was a monumental task that showcased the dedication and enthusiasm of the host country, Niger. As the announcement of the summit was made, the city of Niamey became a hive of activity, with every sector of society gearing up to welcome distinguished guests and make this historic event a success. From the moment the presidency of the CNSP issued the press release, there was a palpable sense of anticipation in the air. The announcement not only informed the public about the upcoming summit, but also invited them to participate actively in welcoming the leaders. This call to action was a strategic move, designed to foster a sense of ownership and pride among the citizens of Niamey and its surrounding areas. The preparations began with a series of high-level meetings involving government officials, security agencies, and various stakeholders. The logistics of hosting such a significant event required meticulous planning. Every detail, from the accommodation of the visiting dignitaries to the security arrangements and the organization of public events, had to be carefully coordinated. One of the first tasks was to ensure the security of the summit. Given the volatile security situation in the Sahel region, this was a top priority. The government of Niger, in collaboration with its regional partners and international allies, put in place robust security measures. This included the deployment of additional security forces, the establishment of secure zones around the summit venues, and the implementation of strict access controls. These measures were designed to ensure the safety of the visiting heads of state, their delegations, and the general public. In parallel with the security preparations, efforts were made to beautify and prepare the city for the influx of visitors. Streets were cleaned, public spaces were decorated with banners and flags, and key landmarks were illuminated to create a festive atmosphere. The city's infrastructure was also given a facelift, with improvements made to roads, public transportation, and communication networks to facilitate the smooth flow of people and information. The call to the population to come out en masse after Friday prayers on July 5th was a key element of the preparation. This event was intended to be a grand public spectacle, showcasing the unity and hospitality of the people of Niamey. Religious leaders were engaged to mobilize their congregations, encouraging them to participate in the welcome festivities. Community groups, schools, and local organizations also played a vital role in organizing parades, cultural performances, and other activities to celebrate the occasion. The media was another crucial player in the build-up to the summit. Both national and international media outlets were invited to cover the event, providing extensive coverage of the preparations and the summit itself. This not only helped to generate excitement and anticipation among the public, but also served to highlight the importance of the summit to a global audience. Special programs and documentaries about the history, culture, and aspirations of the Sahel region were broadcast, helping to contextualize the significance of the AES and its goals. In the days leading up to the summit, a series of preparatory meetings and workshops were held. These gatherings brought together officials, experts, and stakeholders from the AES member states to finalize the agenda and prepare the groundwork for the discussions. Topics such as security cooperation, economic integration, and social development were thoroughly examined to identify concrete actions and agreements that could be endorsed at the summit. The involvement of civil society was another important aspect of the preparations. Recognizing the critical role that non-governmental organizations, community groups, and the private sector play in achieving sustainable development, the organizers made a concerted effort to engage these actors. Various forums and side events were organized, providing a platform for dialogue and collaboration between government officials and civil society representatives. These interactions helped to ensure that the summit's outcomes would be inclusive and reflective of the diverse perspectives within the Sahel region. And what's the aftermath? The first summit was a landmark event that signified a new chapter in regional cooperation and unity among Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, president of Burkina Faso, was the first to speak. His address highlighted the historical significance of the summit and the urgent need for collective action. He spoke passionately about the shared history and destiny of the Sahel nations, emphasizing that their future success depended on their ability to work together. Traoré outlined the key issues that needed to be addressed, including security, economic development, and social progress. His speech was met with applause, reflecting the strong support for his vision of unity and cooperation. Following Traoré's address, Colonel Assimi Goïta, transitional head of state of Mali, took the podium. Goïta's speech focused on the security challenges facing the region, particularly the threat of terrorism and insurgency. He detailed the ongoing efforts of the Malian government to combat these threats and stressed the importance of regional cooperation in enhancing security. Goïta called for the establishment of a joint military task force under the AES framework, which would allow the member states to pool their resources and intelligence to better counter the security threats. His proposal was well received, signaling a strong commitment to collective security. Brigadier General Chiani of Niger was the final speaker in the opening session. His address centered on economic development and the need for sustainable growth. Chiani highlighted the impact of climate change on the region's agricultural productivity and the importance of investing in infrastructure and technology to boost economic resilience. He proposed several initiatives, including the creation of a regional development bank and the promotion of intra-regional trade. Chiani's emphasis on economic collaboration resonated with the audience, reflecting a shared recognition of the need for economic integration to achieve long-term stability and prosperity. The formal addresses were followed by a series of panel discussions and working sessions. These sessions were designed to delve deeper into specific issues and develop actionable plans. Experts from various fields, including security, economics, and social development, participated in these discussions alongside government officials and representatives from civil society. The interactive format allowed for a rich exchange of ideas and the formulation of practical solutions. One of the key topics of discussion was the establishment of a joint military task force, as proposed by Colonel Goïta. The session on security was particularly intense, with detailed presentations on the current security landscape and the capabilities of each member state. The participants discussed various models of military cooperation, drawing lessons from other regional organizations. There was a consensus on the need for a robust and agile task force that could respond swiftly to emerging threats. The discussions also highlighted the importance of intelligence sharing and the need for enhanced border security to prevent the movement of insurgents and arms. Another critical area of focus was economic development. The session on economic collaboration explored ways to enhance trade and investment within the Sahel region. Participants discussed the barriers to intra-regional trade, such as poor infrastructure, trade tariffs, and regulatory inconsistencies. There was a strong emphasis on the need to improve transportation networks, such as roads and railways, to facilitate the movement of goods and people. The idea of establishing a regional development bank was also explored in detail, with discussions on its potential structure, funding mechanisms, and areas of focus. The bank would aim to finance large-scale infrastructure projects, support small and medium enterprises, and promote innovation and technology adoption. The social development session addressed issues such as education, healthcare, and social protection. The participants recognized that sustainable development requires investing in people. There were discussions on improving access to quality education, particularly for girls in marginalized communities. The importance of vocational training and skills development was also highlighted, given the high youth unemployment rates in the region. In healthcare, the need to strengthen health systems and improve access to essential services was emphasized. The discussions also touched on social protection measures, such as cash transfers and social insurance programs, to support vulnerable populations. Throughout the summit, there was a strong emphasis on inclusivity and stakeholder engagement. The leaders and participants recognized that achieving the goals of the AES requires the active involvement of all segments of society. Civil society organizations, community leaders, and the private sector were seen as critical partners in the implementation of the Alliance's initiatives. Several side events and forums were organized to facilitate dialogue between these stakeholders and government officials, allowing for a broader range of perspectives to be considered. As the summit progressed, it became clear that there was a strong alignment of interests and priorities among the member states. The discussions were marked by a spirit of collaboration and mutual respect, with participants actively seeking common ground and consensus. The leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger demonstrated a deep commitment to the principles of the AES and a shared determination to overcome the challenges facing their countries. The summit concluded with the adoption of the Niamey Declaration, a comprehensive document outlining the key agreements and commitments made during the event. The declaration reaffirmed the member states' commitment to collective security, economic integration, and social development. It outlined specific actions to be taken in each of these areas, including the establishment of the Joint Military Task Force, the creation of the Regional Development Bank, and the implementation of various social programs. The declaration also called for regular summits and meetings to review progress and adjust strategies as needed. This summit also got attention from all around the world, while the media, especially the Western, was hooked. But what does the West have to do with this? The emergence of the African Economic Society (AES) as a strong and influential entity directly threatens the power and influence of the economic community of West African states (ECOWAS). ECOWAS, historically under significant influence from France, serves as a vehicle for Western interests in the region. Therefore, the strengthening of AES represents a diminishing of ECOWAS's clout, which consequently means a weakening of French control over West African affairs. This shift necessitates the West's close attention and response. Does this summit signify the end of French control in Africa? This summit has indeed proved that the control of the West on Africa is ending, and the nations themselves are taking control. Do you think this event will make something big for Africa? What will it mean in the long term? Does this mean freedom? Let us know in the comment section. Do you think AES will be the ultimate death of ECOWAS? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.